and let us all do we can to build a better future. Well, this has to deal with the Democratic primary. I know. Now, the reason why I'm covering it is because I want to document it and, again, make it very clear here to everyone that's watching. I'm not going to tell you how to vote. I understand a lot of you are burnt out by electoral politics. I get it. It is understandable, especially after how Bernie Sanders, the cuck, not once, but twice, sold out his movement to appease the Democratic establishment, all the while ignoring the election fraud that took place during the 2016 Democratic primary and the 2020 Democratic primary. We saw firsthand voters in both the 2016 and 2020 Democratic primary waiting 8 hours, 10 hours, a whole day just to vote for Bernie. How there was a lack of paper ballots, polling stations being shut down, people no longer being registered as Democrats for the primary to vote, machines not working properly again. I mean, again, the list goes on and on and on and on. That happened not once but twice. And what did Bernie do? He just let it happen. We saw firsthand how people like Tulsi Gabbard were wrongly smeared and vilified by corporate media and the Democratic establishment. And this is something that RFK Jr. and his campaign has to come to terms with. And one final note, even in a perfect scenario where RFK Jr. gets the appropriate number of votes and could potentially win the primary, the Democratic establishment at any point in time legally can dismiss RFK Jr. and still have Biden or whoever they want as their nominee. The DNC has admitted in the public, court records, so many articles and videos, that they have the right to pick who they want because the Democratic Party is a private corporation. So in other words, you, the voter, don't really have a say. But even with all of that, the Democratic Party is gambling way too much. And RFK Jr. is already being viewed as a headache for the Biden-Harris administration and the Biden-Harris campaign of 2024. Now, I want to play this video again. Shout out to Case Study QB. He's wrongly being censored. Follow him on Twitter. Let's talk about it.
When the New York Times takes a little bit notice, especially inside the Democrat Party, it's worth pointing out. Their headline is, "Why Robert Kennedy Jr.'s 2024 bid is a headache for Biden." I don't think the Biden camp expected RFK Jr. to come out at 20%. That's a big chunk for, he's got a famous last name, but a relatively unknown member of the Democrat Party.
Their analysis of that is if Mr. Kennedy manages to maintain this level of support, he could cause Mr. Biden embarrassment in the primaries.
And part of the reason for that is Joe Biden moved the first in the nation primary to South Carolina, a state that famously helped him out a lot in his first run. New Hampshire and Iowa are still holding Democratic primaries. If Joe Biden chooses not to participate, this guy might be the only guy in the ballot, which means voters, they'd have to write in Biden or vote for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He could win Iowa and New Hampshire, which doesn't mean Joe Biden loses the Democratic primary, but that's a bit of a black eye.
And again, what needs to be addressed here and what should really get a lot of Democratic primary voters angry, including RFK Jr. supporters angry, is that the Democratic Party, and we covered this in a previous episode of Hard Lens Media, Democratic Party has the power initially to dismiss the delegations of Iowa and New Hampshire. If I was a voter in Iowa and New Hampshire, I would be furious. And the fact that Joe Biden is playing this game should already tell you just how dismissive they are of their own voting base. I want to pull up this other video here where now you're going to have a former State Department spokesperson try to do mental gymnastics. I mean, the mental gymnastics on this is insane about why Biden's approval rating is so low. And she also indicates that there is no primary on the Democratic side. I promise you, there is no primary. There is no Democratic primary. Wait a minute. What are you talking about? Let's play this video because, again, it's quite hilarious to me that this is the conversation that's taking place.
And this comes as Iowa's bucking the president, New Hampshire, the Democrat Party's there. He does have a little rebellion within the party.
Well, I promise you that Democrats are not rebelling against Joe Biden. I promise you.
I promise you. There is no rebellion happening. There's nothing to worry about. See, Democratic voters, they're already dismissing anyone that's in the primary.
So I can tell you that that is not happening. I think Democrats are very happy with what he's achieved policy-wise, whether...
Hey, let's have democracy in the chat. I know, controversial statement. Are you happy with how Joe Biden's been running this whole operation? Type 1 for yes, kid. My life is great. 3 meals a day, full tank of gasoline, 2-week vacation. Oh, I'm living my best life. Everything's so great. The kids are out of cages. Rob Reiner got them all out. It's wonderful. Type 1 if that's your answer. And it's all great. Everything's hunky-dory. Type 2, like, no, man. No, I am not happy. I'm not happy at all. I'm furious. I'm angry, and righteously so.
It's all the jobs, manufacturing boom, reducing prescription drug prices. They're very happy about what they're going.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Stop it right there. Lower prescription drug costs? Industrial boom? When did this happen? When did this happen? Y'all, hold on. Hold on, lady. Hold on. You better explain this to me. And I don't care if I need to lower my tone. You better explain this to me. When did that happen?
Going to be running on.
But Marie, why did 53% tell the AP they don't want him to run? But how did
there is no primary.
53% of Democrats say we don't want him to run?
First of all, I think the polling is completely broken. And I'm not saying that because I don't like this one poll. I think it's very hard to actually determine what Republican voters think. We saw that, or what Democratic voters think. We saw that in the midterm elections. Polls were wildly off. I think that Democrats want 2 things. First, they want to win next year, and they believe that Donald Trump will probably be the nominee.
Again, even when they're not part of the administration, even when presented with facts showing that Kamala and Biden's approval rating is in the toilets, they still say that he's doing a fantastic job. And on top of that, they still always bring up Donald Trump's name. No wonder Donald Trump is a billionaire. He lives rent-free in so many people's minds across the country. So much mental real estate. Again, bringing up Trump here. No. We're going to play it again. They got to bring up Trump. Always. They got to bring up Trump. Trump. All the time, Trump.
From elections, polls were wildly off. I think that Democrats want 2 things. First, they want to win next year, and they believe that Donald Trump will probably be the nominee, and Joe Biden's the only one who's ever beaten Donald Trump.
Again, man, you are holding on to that. He barely won by the skin of his teeth, okay? And popular vote doesn't mean jack. Hey, did Joe Biden visit the people of East Palestine, Ohio? Yeah, probably not. No. Joe Biden do anything for the people of Flint, Michigan? Yeah, probably no. No, he didn't.
They also want to continue to build a bench for the next generation of leaders. That is something that Democrats care about. I'm not going to deny that. But I think the Democrats feel very good about their chances with Joe Biden. There is no primary on the Democratic side. I promise you, Kennedy is...
There is no primary. Hold on. I got to pull up that meme. There is no war in Ba Sing Se, right? Here. There is no Democratic primary. Hang on. Okay, hold on. We're going to keep on playing the video.
Not actually going to get 20% in any primary. And, you know, elections are tough. These are choices. They feel good about Joe Biden at the top of the ticket and everything he's gotten done, especially compared to the alternative.
Yeah, Maureen, we only have a little bit of time here, but you know there are a lot of data points showing that Joe Biden.
Here, there is no war in Ba Sing Se. There is no Democratic primary. See that whenever I see people say that there is no Democratic primary, this is the face that's going to pop in my head. This face right here. There is no Democratic primary. Look at that. There is no Democratic primary, folks. Hey, that's it. Show's over. Third-party candidates? There are no third-party candidates. Low approval rating for Biden and Kamala? There are no low approval ratings for Biden or Kamala. Trump beating Biden? There is no evidence that Trump could beat Biden. This is the face that I'm going to think of now. Whenever I see this person, this wonderful person on the left right here, wearing the glasses, I'm going to always think of that image.
And struggling. And my theory is this, he's at 60% in his race against the Dems. When you look at former President Trump, he was at nearly 90% in his primary. He did have some primary opponents. He was much more popular. Biden's got a base problem.
I think there's a lot going on with the dissatisfaction of many Americans. The latest poll that I saw showing Biden at 51% disapproval rating. First of all, it starts with everyday thing, Kaylee, like moms like you and I going to the grocery store and getting frustrated every time we check out because of the price of groceries, and going to the gas station, looking at the price of having to fill up our cars. And there's so many parents around this country that are making trade-off decisions about filling up the gas tank or filling up the grocery cart. And also, I think the Hunter Biden scandals, the Biden family scandals, they're certainly, I think, in the minds of voters.
But it gets even better because, look, the Democratic Party, they don't want to talk about RFK Jr. Shout out again to Case Study QB, who's wrongly being censored.
Let me get your take, Robert, on why the Democrats won't allow any competition. I mean, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is doing well. He's rising in the polls. We had Marianne Williamson on this program last week. They want to debate President Biden, but the Democrat leadership will not allow any primary debates. Why not?
Yeah, so, I mean, I know Robert F. Kennedy. I was named after his father. I'm Robert, my brother's John, and I used to be vice chairman of the Robert F. Kennedy Center. This is not about Robert F. Kennedy. An incumbent, whether Republican or Democrat, they're not going to go on the debate stage. That doesn't happen. It didn't happen in the past. It's not going to happen in the future. When you take the
But I think it's long overdue that maybe we do make that change. I mean, people are not confident in Joe Biden. I mean, he is clearly showing signs of dementia and Alzheimer's. His age is a real factor. And look, he is not popular. His approval rating is in the toilet. I can keep on saying it over and over again, but even his vice president has worse numbers than Joe Biden. And previous vice presidents are more popular than her. So it is understandable why voters want to see a debate happen. This might be the first time ever in U.S. history where we could see a potential incumbent debate primary challengers. Now, again, that would be quite a sight to see. But the Democratic Party, I mean, you could keep on covering your ears and saying, la, 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 we can't hear anything. But voters want something different. And RFK Jr. is offering Democratic voters in the primary something different.
The field versus Biden, someone's going to get 1 in 4 votes. I think that this is a non-event. The truth is the Democratic Party is not even talking about Robert F. Kennedy or Marianne Williamson. It's much more of the conservative and the GOP talking about him. In my opinion, the way he's running, he probably should run in the field of the GOP party.
Well, I mean, maybe, the Democrats aren't talking about it, but voters are talking about him. He's rising in the polls. And it just feels like when you look at fairness, I mean, the same thing happened in 2016, right? The Democrats wanted Hillary Clinton, so they blew up Bernie Sanders. Why shoe in one candidate before the public can actually make a decision?
Well, when there's an incumbent, that's the incumbent's the president. He's not candidate. Leo, go ahead, please.
No, please. No, I can tell you right now, Maria, listen, the fix is in. The decision not to debate is basically a Democratic decision with the inside the Beltway Washington Democratic donors.
Now, to be fair here, during the 2020 Republican primary, Trump didn't debate his challengers. Yes, there were people who wanted to challenge Donald Trump, but at the end of the day, in that primary, in comparison to this one that Joe Biden has to face in his party, Trump already had a strong voting base. He secured his voting base. I mean, the other challengers were nothing to him. So Trump really didn't have an incentive or a real need to debate his primary challengers. And no, this is not a defense of Trump, but it's a fact. Biden, however, doesn't have that luxury. Voters see that Biden's age is a real concern. Kamala is not popular and is viewed as incredibly weak by voters. So a debate needs to take place. Biden's going to have to once again sell his image that he is confident and strong and capable of leading this country for another 4 years. And so far, there's no evidence showing that he actually could or is able to do so. And again, to quote Nikki Haley A vote for Biden is a vote for Kamala. So it is understandable why Democratic voters want to see a debate. RFK Jr. already at 20% and rising. It's time for us to really see if Biden really has what it takes. And yes, the fix is in. The fix is in for Biden. They're already saying this, and they're making it clear. There is no Democratic primary. There are no challengers to Joe Biden. There are no low approval ratings of Kamala or Biden.
They've already made a decision. They've already crowned Joe Biden as the nominee. And what's going to bring it down, what can bring it down, is the Hunter Biden-Joe Biden fiasco. That is the situation that could end up Joe Biden becoming the LBJ 1968 version and dropping out. Joe Biden is leaking water basically due to his association with China, Hunter Biden. And let me tell you right now, Joe Biden is not running on his record. He's running away from his record.
Now, I also want to pull up a town hall that RFK Jr. was a part of. And to be clear here, there will be another town hall on News Nation here in Chicago on June 28th. RFK Jr. will be participating in this one. But I want to play this video of a town hall that took place 2 days ago. And shout out to the chief nerd who was able to at least get a couple of video segments of this, in regards to how the DNC is going to be picking the Democratic primary, the Democratic candidate. Now, again, this is just RFK Jr. speaking on this. Again, I have my own personal opinion of the Democratic primary. It's already rigged, but let's hear RFK Jr. talk about it.
The next question from Susan Wilkinson.
Hi, thank you for having the courage and backbone to tell the American voters the truth. And hopefully you will be able to heal the divide. My question is, many former registered Democrats are hesitant to rejoin the party to vote for you, given the past history of the DNC. This year, they have already stated Biden is the candidate for the ticket. What would you say to these voters? How can you fight an entity that can decide what candidate will be on the ballot, regardless of what voters wanted?
Well, what I would say is, the voter has a choice. You can come out to the poll and you can support somebody who is not the DNC's choice. And I agree with you. We're living in a time in American history where there's some, January 6th was a terrible, terrible moment in our history. The people who broke. Again,
look, RFK Jr., I respect some things you say, but okay, when you start saying January 6th was a terrible time, come on, buddy. No, it wasn't. We've had sports riots that are far more impactful than what happened on that stupid, dumb day.
Broke the law should go to jail or should be punished, in whatever way is appropriate. But we need to look at kind of one of the larger messages, which is there's a huge group of people in this country who believe that the system is rigged against them and that the election system is rigged and it's not functioning. I'm sure you weren't there on January 6th, but you just said the same thing to me. You said that you don't believe that as democracy is working, that we're no longer the party of the New Deal, we're the party of the rigged deal. And that, we're picking candidates the way the Soviet Union did, which is that, the party says, here's who you can vote for and here's not. And we ought to, at this point in history, when there's so many people like you and then people on the other side who were at January 6th, that we need to be showing America and showing the world that we can conduct an election that is actually democratic. That is, the template and the role model for democratic elections in this country. And
now, look, I've sent out an invite to the RFK Jr. campaign. I did get an email back from them saying that I was on a list. I don't know where I'm at on that list. Whether or not we get RFK Jr. on the show or not is yet to be seen. But I once again got to hit home with the question of, okay, you're saying some very nice things. These are words I do agree with. You're saying some very interesting things. But then again, my brain once again activates. It says, wait a minute, Kit. You saw what happened in 2016. You saw what happened in 2020. The DNC is putting their full weight on the scale. This game has been rigged from the start when you run a Democratic primary. And even in a very unlikely scenario, the best case scenario, if RFK Jr. were to win the Democratic nomination, and we talked about this on the post-duopoly show with RBN and Due Dissidents. All 5 of us on that panel came down to the same conclusion, and we didn't even have to ask the question. The DNC will pick who they want. And you got to be ready for, okay, when they do that, what happens then? What will be the next move, RFK? That is a serious question that he's going to have to come to terms with and have a ready answer for, because the rig is in. And I would be doing the service to RFK Jr. supporters by saying that, oh, yeah, everything will be fine. No, they're going to rig the system. They're going to do that. That's the game they're going to play. It's something that voters need to be ready for.
And, you know, that people need to do. We're not going to just let the politicians get billions of dollars from billionaire donors and then carpet bomb the country with advertisements and never actually have to shake a hand or meet a person, except in these, you know, highly staged rallies that they parachute in for once in a while, where everybody in that rally is handpicked and, you know, and the whole thing is staged, and it's kabuki theater. It's not politics. The thing that's what most disturbing of what the DNC is doing here in New Hampshire and in Iowa, these were the 2 states where you actually had to do retail politics, where you had to come in and shake hands with people and meet people in diners and nail salons and barber shops and gas stations and answer the question from, you know, the old lady in Keene, New Hampshire, who reads The Economist every week and is, you know, obsessed with the Financial Times and is asking you a question, then a follow-up question and another that you'll never get from CNN or even from the Times. And that happens here, and then people don't make up their mind. Oftentimes, so they go into the polling booth in New Hampshire. There's this wonderful culture in this state of skepticism, of questioning, of, you know, where you vet candidates for the rest of the nation the way that you would vet a city council candidate. And it's really important role for our country. And the same thing happens in Iowa, by the way. And the idea that the DNC has come in and just, you know, pulled a trapdoor under the 2 states where democracy actually happens is really insane to me. Oh, but I think you do have a choice. You can go to the polls. You can vote for me or, you know, another candidate, and you can show that you still believe in democracy in the state of New Hampshire. Thanks.
Good luck. Seriously. Not the best answer to that question, because it's not, because again, the DNC is rigging the game, and it's already been proven. The evidence and video work is out there. The Democratic Party has said that there will be no debate. You have former people part of the Biden and Harris administration saying that there is no Democratic primary, that there are no Democratic primary challengers, that Joe Biden is popular, and the truth is, this face sums it up perfectly. Maybe I'm overdoing it, but this is the face that comes to my mind when I think or when I hear the statements from the Vote Blue, no matter who sycophants or the diehard liberal Democrats, that everything's fine. There is nothing to worry about. This is the image that comes to my head. Because all what they could talk about is how Biden is great and how we have to stop Trump. Always stopping Trump. Trump is the main bad guy, the villain that lives rent-free in their head. There are no Democratic primaries. There are no Democratic primary challengers. There are no low approval ratings for Biden or Harris. RFK Jr.'s campaign is already showing that it does have the potential to be more of a headache than Bernie Sanders' campaign ever was to the Democratic establishment. And I do hope that RFK Jr. is prepared to go all the way, but I'm not holding my breath. I've been disappointed by Democratic candidates before. And I do hope that there is a what happens then, that there is a serious counter move to what the Democratic primary or what the DNC will do in the 2024 primary. The only way you're going to find out about it is if you subscribe to Hard Lens Media and follow us. And yes, we will be covering the 2024 DNC convention here in Chicago. It's going to be a crazy election year. Stay tuned to Hard Lens Media.